So in today's session, we're going to talk about incident reports, or you can also call it a written warning. But a written warning is meant to help you document employee behavior and performance when your team isn't filling the expectations of your business and when they fall short. So what is an employee write-up? A work write-up is a formal documentation regarding an employee breaking a rule. The manager typically fills this out, or owner, of course, fills out a standard employee write-up form that describes the employee behavior, including which policies the employee broke and what the employee needs to improve on. An employee write-up typically goes into the person's file. When we begin with an employee write-up, I always like to do a verbal warning first and then move into an incident report. So when it comes to writing an employee up, emotions are usually really high. We need to stay calm and we need to follow our policies. And we need to know that mistakes made during the process, especially out of anger, may result in employee loss, employee rebuttal. It may result in not so great things happening inside of our business. So whenever we are doing a write-up or an incident report, we really need to make sure we're calm, cool, and professional. So here are some things to think about when you are doing a write-up. You always want to use a form. You always want to stay calm. You always want to consider and make sure that you are following your policies. You want to collect statements from witnesses when it is a major ordeal, and that I mean like something that could cause legal action. If somebody was caused harm, or if there is legal action that may have been taken or could be taken, you might want to collect statements from witnesses. I would not collect statements from witnesses for your basic things like not following dress code and being late. Like that's not necessary. So when to use an employee write-up form? Write-up forms are typically decided to be the final action before termination. We at my salon do 3 write-ups or 3 incident reports before we let the employee go. They usually come after 1 or more verbal warning to provide additional feedback. However, you can skip directly to a written reprimand if the employee's actions are severe. Establish a disciplinary action policy to outline the types of warnings and write-ups and use the situations to call the different actions. So when we do the write-up, we want to make sure we're doing it when we're calm. Working on a write-up document when you are angry not only exacerbates the issue, but it also leaves room for error and non-professionalism. So write-ups are meant to be objective, and there needs to be no emotion put into this situation. Once it's reached the write-up stage, you've already given an employee a verbal warning. So we want to make sure to keep the content of our write-up very professional. And we want to consider that the write-up is going to go into the employee files. So we want to make sure that we are being as non-emotional as possible. We also want to consider our policies. You should have a solid reason for issuing an incident report or a write-up, and to stick to your company's policies to back up your claims is crucial and necessary. You may want to cite the exact policy as well for future reference. Explain thoroughly that you've given verbal warnings and feedback, and also discuss what the employee can do to take action in order to make sure that this doesn't happen again. So we want to coach them through, and we want to make sure that we are giving them ways that they can create a solution to ensure that this problem doesn't happen again. Usually asking them what their solution is or getting feedback from them on how they're going to change the behavior is a great way to go about the situation. If you need to collect statements for severe cases, team members might see the report of the coworker's behavior. We want to make sure we keep everything as private as possible. So when we're collecting statements, consider those that are factual rather than subjective. We also want to make sure we're setting expectations for next time. After addressing performance issues within your write-up, the next step is to set expectations for improvement. Avoid praising strengths in the write-up, and as doing so, that can minimize the seriousness of the matter. Instead, keep a focus on honest corrective feedback and relate your feedback towards the issue rather than the person. and include steps on how to improve. Be sure to outline what comes after the write-up along with any further actions such as termination. In many cases, the next step is termination, and it is best if we make this really, really, really clear. So when we're doing these reports, we want to make sure that we're doing them to document so we protect our business, that we're doing it in a way that's coaching and empathetic for our team, but we also want to make sure that we are holding the standards within our business because that is what's going to keep everything smooth running.